Hello and a warm welcome to everyone out there. My name is Madeleine Egger and I have the honor to be today's host of the very first Womenize inspiring story here live on Twitch. Thanks so much for tuning in. Before we get started, I'd like to jump a little bit in some details behind the Womenize initiative. And of course, guys, if you have any questions, please feel free to put them in the chat. There will also be a Q&A later, so yeah, if you have any questions to our guest today, please put them in the chat. The Womenize initiative was founded back in 2015 by Michael Liebe, CEO of Booster Space and founder of Gamesweek Berlin, as well as Ruth Lemon, who is a consultant and specialized in funding, career development, event and project management. Since then, Womenize has been held as an event format, mainly within Gamesweek Berlin, but also independently in Cologne. In addition, Womenize also made it to Latin America and has been held there twice so far. Usually it offers conference content such as exciting keynotes, interesting keynotes, insightful workshops, and as well as networking opportunities. The goal of the initiative is that at some point it's no longer needed because gender inequality is no longer an issue anymore. But until then, Womenize will continue to grow, bring people together, raise awareness, and bring inspiring people on stage. So the Womenize Inspiring Story is a weekly series that features exciting people from the games industry and the tech industry. And it usually comes out on a Wednesday. I know, it's not a Wednesday today, it's a Tuesday, but it's a special day. It's the International Women's Day. So we thought, let's do a special edition of the Womenize Inspiring Story then. So if you want to find out more information about Womenize and the people we already interviewed, please visit our website, follow us on social media, and check us out. Our today's guest has been part of the gaming industry for 7 years, has a master's degree in European political science, and speaks Japanese. I'm speaking of Carolin Wendt. Welcome, Carolin. Glad to have you.
Hi, I'm thrilled to be here. My Japanese has gotten a bit rusty, but I'm really excited to be here at Womenize. It's actually one of the first events that has ever taken a chance on me when I started out, so I'm very, very happy to be here.
And we're happy to have you. Thank you so much. Could you please introduce yourself to the people out there who don't know you yet?
Yes, which will be the majority, I guess. Hi, I'm Carolin. I'm 31 years old. I am German from a lovely central northern German city, and I am the senior community manager for the German-speaking regions at CD Projekt Red, so for Germany, Austria, and Switzerland, including all of our franchises, so Cyberpunk 2077, The Witcher franchise, and Gwent.
Yeah, amazing. Thanks so much. I usually don't like introducing people because the best way people can introduce themselves. So I'd like to jump into the questions we prepared for you now. And could you please share with us how you got started in the industry? I mean, you have a master's degree in European political science. So how did you end up in the gaming industry?
Yeah, it's an interesting way because I never thought I could make money working in video games. I'm from the classic small town where you become a lawyer, you become a doctor, or in my case, you start out being a teacher or like a political scientist, which was already more exotic. And I actually always loved video games, but I thought maybe changing the world, and I was very idealistic, so I thought I could change the world. And then I was in my master's degree and I needed to do an internship, and I had all these options of going to the EU maybe or United Nations. And actually that thought made me super unhappy because I thought, I don't really want to do that after all. And then I had a small mental crisis of what to do because now I studied for it for years. and I Googled very frantically what to do with politics and video games. And I found a foundation in Berlin. That's in German it's Stiftung Digitale Spielekultur, which roughly translates to Digital Games Culture Foundation. And I emailed them, and I got very lucky because the boss at the time, Peter, he actually looked for someone to take care of the German Video Game Award committee, and he needed someone like basically ASAP. So I was in my study abroad semester in New Zealand in November, I think it was November, and in January I moved to Berlin, and that's how I started. I was still in my master's, so I basically worked and studied at the same time, and then when my master's degree was over, they wanted me, and here I am.
Amazing.
Yes,
yeah.
Yes.
Interesting story, actually.
It's very weird also because the thing is that everyone expects some sort of linear way into the games industry, and the most linear way into the games industry seems to me to not study to be in the games industry. I mean, of course, there are some very great academic programs to go into games, and some careers are more likely to have a linear path than others.
Yeah,
but I know
agree.
so many people that basically never thought they would work in games, and now they do.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like most people I know, actually. They never thought they'd end up here. Yeah, so we'll jump into the next question. What are the most rewarding aspects of being a community manager, which you are now,
Yes.
and what are the most challenging ones?
Yes. So in January 2019, I changed my job to be a community manager at CD Projekt Red, which I am still, and I'm very happy. And the most rewarding things so far have been all the in-person interactions with the community members, which now, sadly, in the last 2 years was a bit cut down on. But we had a lot of events, be it Gamescom or like specific community events for our players, or in International Games Week, we actually also did a Gwent tournament, which I really, really liked. And meeting people is definitely really rewarding because people are extremely passionate. Another thing is that we are usually the first people to receive nice messages. We see all the fan creations, we see the cosplayers, we talk to people on social media that are extremely, extremely kind most of the time. So that's extremely rewarding. On the other hand, that is also the point that is probably the most challenging, that you are the first person people usually speak to, together with our technical support colleagues usually, right? Because to us, the connection is quite clear and straightforward. So if people have a problem with something, you will usually hear about it. And that can be quite demanding, especially because people don't always know why you can't share certain things, why certain things have to happen in a specific way. But then for a variety of reasons, you cannot tell them, right? So it's a balancing act of being as transparent as you can and taking the feedback, and at the same time just accepting that people will be negative sometimes.
Yeah. Okay, I get it. Great answer.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, I guess you learned a lot from your job, like personally as well.
Yeah, I think it's a job that if you don't learn how to handle feedback, it's a very, very tough job. And we had some challenging times, but what it taught me is that feedback usually, even if it's given in maybe not the kindest way, usually has at its core some valuable information that you want, right? Mm-hmm. So for example, if someone posts criticism about a certain thing, you could take it personally, or you could go the step and say, okay, why do people feel this way? What did we maybe miscommunicate, or what did they maybe misunderstand? What are they missing? Or maybe they're having a bad day, mm-hmm. you know? And that actually helped me also in my personal life to think, okay, this person is being, I checked, I can curse. This person is being bitchy. Like, this person is being really, really bitchy right now. Mm-hmm. But maybe they are not having a good day, right? And so this thought process is actually something really helpful. Mm-hmm. And I told you before, when we were still talking, just the two of us, that often when someone has a not so nice message on social media or not so nice DM, and you will respond to them in a very, hey, I'm sorry that you're experiencing this issue, this is how we could help you. If you respond this way, 80 to 95% of the time you will get back a, oh, I'm so sorry, I had a bad day, I didn't mean to be rude, thank you for getting back to me. And that's actually probably the biggest takeaway. People don't want to be mean, right? There's a certain subset of people that want to be, but majority of people is actually kind.
That's positive news.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Otherwise this job would be quite tricky.
Yeah, yeah, I figure. So which advice would you give someone that wants to work as a community manager? So in the future, what are some good steps for that person?
Be resilient. What I mean is, don't take it personally if you get rejection. I know it sounds horrible that this is my first message, but there's a lot of people, luckily enough, that want to join this industry. When you have any sort of game company post a job listing, there will be a lot of people usually that want to go for this job. If at first you don't succeed, try again. It's not you. It's just that there's so many great people in the world that want to work in gaming, which is a privilege of the games industry, right? That it's really, really hard to choose. I mean, I'm not in a hiring position, but I know people that are, and there's so many great people. So don't take it personally, try again. Maybe ask people why they couldn't take you, but the bigger the company, the less likely it is that they are allowed to respond. But generally, just try again. Go over your resume or CV, go over your portfolio if you have one, and just try. Try. If you're passionate and that's what you want to do, do it. Another tip would probably just be network. I know people have a big problem with the term networking because you are thinking of like stuffy cocktail parties where people are just collecting like business cards and you're having horrible conversations, but we met through networking, right? Like we had a lovely conversation outside on the floor in front of a supermarket drinking Coke and just sitting in the sun. And networking can be so many things, right? It's just talking to people that you find kind. Also, the networking should not be vertical only. There's horizontal networking. If you go to university, just be interested in your co-students. If you have a professor that works for a gaming company or something related, go talk to them and ask them questions. And don't make it about what can you do for me. Just try to get to know them, because so many times I've been asked, hey, do you have a recommendation for a producer position? Or do you know someone that can do live streaming? Or do you know someone for this PR position? And I will think of the people that have been kind to me and that had conversations with me, and I will recommend these people. Mm-hmm. I will not recommend the person that came to me tipsy at a cocktail party just to collect my business card, right? Because everyone wants to work with nice people. So just be a kind person. The industry is small. Don't be mean, because we talk about people that are mean. Yeah. And just be yourself, and don't sell yourself short. Don't think that that's maybe an important point. Just don't think that to work in this industry you have to accept everything. There are certain companies that don't deserve you. You have to have boundaries, and you don't have to accept every job. Yes, that's thank you.
That's actually some very, very, very good advice. Like, not only joining the gaming industry, like any industry or any company. Yeah. So, yeah.
There are certain red flags in general, right? And also there are portals on the internet where you can Glassdoor, for example, to list the obvious one, but also LinkedIn, if you're lucky, where you can already check what the feedback is from people that work there. I mean, keep in mind that people that complain are usually the ones that write reviews, so the negative bias will be there. But try to get a vibe for companies, right? If you see the job listing and the job listing asks for a highly dynamic, passionate person and has like 5 different job titles in one name, maybe look somewhere else if you like work-life balance, right? So yeah, that would be my first step. I think.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much. Are there any gaming initiatives we should know about, or gaming initiatives you are interested in and want to share with us?
Apart from Womenize.
Apart from
Apart from Womenize and International Games Week.
Exactly.
Yes, several. I will list two of the German ones because they're very dear to my heart. One of them is the German Dev Days, which has been founded by a very kind person who I won't name drop now because I don't know if he wants that. But German Dev Days is a conference specifically made for students and for newcomers into the industry. And they have a foundation that gives money for people that can't afford to go to conferences. And luckily enough, I'm allowed to be a member of the board. So I really love that initiative because I get to see all the exciting student projects, all the exciting newcomer and indie projects, and I really, really love that part. And then the second one is actually the DEP, Deutscher Entwicklerpreis, which is also an award show for video games. And then on the international level, something I really, really care about is mental health, not only because of my position, but in general. And there are several very good initiatives for mental health, but one I've been working with recently is Safe in Our World, which is a UK-based initiative. And they have people from the gaming industry offering workshops for people working in games. And they're offering also consulting on how to behave on your website, how to behave on your socials. And how I found them is that they have a mental health workshop for community managers. And I participated because in our job you learn a lot about people, because for some people their gaming community is the only space where they are social, right? And I believe that there's a certain responsibility that comes with being in this industry in general, right? I think that if you have a large audience, you have to use it for something good, as witnessable right now in the wider world. And you sometimes see signals in communities that can be scary. And what this what this initiative does is they will train you how to spot these signals and how to help those people get help. Right? Because I'm not a mental health trainer, I'm not a trained psychiatrist or whatever, but I can do my part in getting these people to maybe seek help. And that's something that I think more people should care about and more people should work on. But in general, what I find is that the gaming industry is a space with a lot of great initiatives, also for women in games, for LGBTQ initiatives in video games, but also for sustainability in games, I forgot the name, which is very embarrassing. There's a Games Forest initiative where companies can basically buy forests and save part of the world, which is so fascinating. So all of these things I really, really care about. Yeah. I could go on about this forever, so you have to stop me.
Okay, the next question.
Yes.
How do you facilitate a positive work environment, like possibly, especially in times of a global pandemic?
That's tricky because so I've been working remotely for most of the period since 2019 already. So for me, it wasn't that giant shift when I started working. Like when COVID started happening and everyone reverted to work from home, I was already working from home, right? So that's not the big issue. But what I think is really, really witnessable, I don't know if it's an English word, but now it is. What's really witnessable is that tensions are easier to arise when it's only written communication, right? When you're only writing Slack messages to your team members, misunderstandings can happen, especially if you mix in cultural differences, right? In our case, we have, I don't know how many, but more than 10 different countries of origin in our team alone, right? And cultures are different and communication styles are different. So if you only have written communication, that can be very tricky. So you could set up lunch dates, like just offer, hey, we're doing lunch now. Or when there's a crisis happen, like an unnamed attack on another country and everyone is very, very, very distraught, you could say, hey, let's just chat. Like, let's just open a video call. And whoever wants to join in can talk. And whoever doesn't, because some people don't like it, no one should feel pressured, right? Just watch out for your colleagues. And one thing that I sometimes do, because I'm a very direct person, is that sometimes I will message people and be like, I hope you didn't misunderstand me, I didn't mean to be rude. And then you usually get in a conversation as well, right? Mm-hmm. And also take breaks. Like, I catch myself when I'm very frustrated by the world that I keep talking about it. We had it also that we kept talking about COVID. I'm like, let's just change topics. What's your favorite movie that you've seen in a while, you know, to sort of break the cycle of negativity, because it's very easy to get lost in it, right? Maybe that. But also we have, in our case, for example, we have a very good support system from the company. Mm-hmm. So seek psychological help if you need it, right? It's not a shame to go talk to a therapist. I think everyone should go talk to a therapist. Even if I hear laughter from the video person. I really think everyone should go to a therapist, because it helps you, even if you have no problem or nothing you think you need to talk about. It teaches you how to talk to other people, mm-hmm. right? And there's no shame. So if your company or your university or your school offers psychological help, take it.
Yeah. I absolutely agree. I couldn't agree more, actually. That we could talk probably about this topic for hours, but that's not why we're here. I'd like to jump into another question. Which values are important to you when managing a community?
Mm-hmm. So for me, the most important one is inclusion, but in the specific way that I think everyone with an asterisk, right, that I will get to later. Everyone should feel welcome in our community. I don't want anyone to feel unsafe in our community. So I think having a well laid out code of conduct, as you know from events, right, from Games Week or from GDC, from Gamescom, events usually have a code of conduct on how to behave and how not to be an asshole, right? And I think that's my most important value, to enforce it. You have rules, and if you don't act on it, they're worth nothing. So I want people to be included in activities. This also goes for social media. So if you post a picture, include alt text, right? Like, wherever it's possible, try to let as many people participate as possible. Which also goes to, if you have someone in your community that wants to be a troll, which there are some people, not many, but some, don't be scared to ban them, right? You need to protect the community to let it thrive. So some people have to go. Another one is positivity, but I don't mean the toxic forced positivity, but just if you see someone put a lot of time into a fan art. In my case, for example, we have a German Instagram account for the company. And I sometimes just go to someone that has, I don't know, like 15 followers. I don't care about followers. If there's a nice fan art, I will go there and say, hey, nice job. Thank you for doing it, right? Because people put love into it. So I think they deserve to hear some nice words back. And then maybe the third one is consistency. Like, you have to be, now I have a fourth one, shit. Like, you have to be sort of consistent. If you treat some people a certain way, you can't just change your behavior because you like someone else or you know someone else, right? Then it's very easy to be, yeah, my friends can be toxic, but the normal players can't be toxic. So it's important that everyone follows the same rules. I have my favorite story. I love my moderators. I think I have the best moderators on the planet. And there was a time when COVID happened, because on our Discord, for example, it's a safe space. It's a COVID-free safe space. It doesn't happen. It's the C word. No one talks about it because we thought it's too much pressure, too much negativity. And I once ranted briefly about something COVID related, and my mod actually disciplined me. And I was like, yes, thank you. Like, she came to me and said, I do not want to ban you from your server, so please stop. And I said, yes, good job, thank you. So that's my favorite story about that. And then maybe the last one, transparency as much as possible. It's not possible to be completely transparent, and the bigger your company and maybe if you're also stock traded, if there are certain responsibilities and rules you have to follow, you can't share everything, which is something people often don't think about, right? But there are certain things you are not allowed to share, but where you can share it. Yeah, I'm just reading in the chat, banned from your own server. I almost got banned from my own server. Yeah, but wherever possible, try to share with people what you can share. And also say, hey guys, I can't tell you this, right? Instead of reading, like getting a DM and just leaving it on read forever, just say, hey, thank you for reaching out. I can't respond to it. I will post about it on this channel whenever I can respond to it. That's it. Yes.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah. I really like your values.
Thank you. I also like them.
Yeah, would be. It's fun being in a community that is yeah, so nice or kind. I mean, what you've told me like before we started the stream, because I have a question that fits to it, so I'll just ask the question. Do you think that a female community manager is being treated differently by the community than a male one? Have you seen any kind of development regarding this during your time at CD Projekt Red or now?
So I'm lucky in that regard. I mean, I inherited a very nice community, right? The community already existed before I came, and as every community, there's always room for improvement. There's always more things you can do. That being said, there was never an issue with me being a woman. Like when I came in, I introduced myself in our forums, on our Facebook. We didn't have Instagram back then, but in our Discord, I introduced myself. And there was maybe one troll, but one troll among, I don't know, 60,000 people, it's nothing, right? So it was very, very kind. Also, I mean, there was one person when I got my promotion, one person made a bad tweet, but honestly, I don't listen to the one shitty person, just focus on the rest. So I personally in my community have never had an issue with it, also because my community, especially my Discord community, would probably defend me. But I have of course heard about stories from other people, right? I've heard about people in other companies that shall not be named, that they, for example, don't share their name, their actual name. Like everyone knows that I'm Carolin, and I'm not making a secret out of the fact that I'm a woman, but I do know colleagues from the industry that don't share their first name because there's harassment in their community, or because maybe certain fields of the industry could be more toxic than our communities, which I have no proof of, right? Because I only know myself. Also, I only know how they treat a female community manager, because I don't know how male community managers get treated, right? But in general, the gaming community and the tech community still have some work left to do. I'm just lucky that I haven't witnessed it myself. Except when I started, there was some, but at industry events, so not from the community, actually not from players, but from other industry peeps that also shall not be named, that were quite skeptical, you know, and like, so you're the cheerleader and this kind of stuff, right? Or that didn't believe me when I was at Gamescom and I was about to test their setups, and they didn't believe me that I had the rights to do so, right? But also that were kind of the exceptions. So, yeah. I don't know. It's a tricky topic for me to talk about because I don't want to diminish the importance of it. Yeah. But I kind of always weasel through the gaps and never really experienced it firsthand.
I guess haters gonna hate.
Haters gonna hate, yes.
Yeah, it's simple as that.
Yeah, so I can give you one specific exception, right?
Yeah, sure.
When I got hate messages, my male colleagues also got hate messages, right? It's not that we received them and they didn't. The wording was different. So there was some gender-based. I will not go into details because we're making this a safe space, but there was some gender-based hate in mine, but there was also different hate in others, right? So that's definitely something that we have to work on in general.
Yeah, definitely. So I really like the message you're bringing out here, that just be a kind person and people will be kind to you. I mean, it doesn't always apply, of course. Sometimes you just get off on the wrong foot. And
like bad shit happens to good people, right? It's not that if you're kind, nothing bad will ever happen to you. But the good thing is that if you're a community manager, you can get rid of those people. So just throw them out.
Yeah. I wish we could do this like in real life as well. But yeah, that's right. Okay. Time for another question.
Yes.
Could you share some wholesome moments that you've experienced with your community? Like something that stands out?
Yes, I have a lot of those because especially the Witcher community is, if you haven't witnessed the Witcher community yet, it's a very, very loving and very, very passionate community in all meanings of the word. And we were lucky enough that we did a tour to promote our game, one of our games, and we went to different cities. And the love of people and the passion of people, to see them come to the events that you're doing. I mean, you know it since you're also doing events, right? This moment of people just being excited and happy that you're there is such a wholesome feeling, right? And I had, for example, I will never forget it. I was at Gamescom, and in 2019 we had Cyberpunk on Gamescom. And we had a quite long waiting queue for it, so I also sometimes went around and distributed stickers, and then we distributed some food for people sometimes, right? And I got into conversations with some people in the queue, and I talked to two girls that were cosplayers, and we just talked about games, right? Because I was happy that they were there, we talked about games, and I mentioned that I love Fallout. Fast forward one day and they show up at the booth and they bought me a bobblehead from the merchandise area and wrote on it that thank you for being a kind person and like have fun. And we're still messaging sometimes on Instagram DMs because they're so cute. And these kind of gestures are really, I don't know, undescribable until you have them, right? Because it's something that, it sounds small, but it's such a nice gesture that I really, really like it.
Yeah, it's so beautiful. Actually, if you would have seen my expressions when she told that story, it was like, oh no,
yes,
oh, that's so cute.
Yeah. Also on our Discord, I can't help myself. I use a lot of hearts in my communication, and at the beginning I tried to be professional and not do it, and I was like, no, they're stuck with me. I'm stuck with them, so I might as well like post my hearts and stuff, right? And they made an emoji, like an emote for me with a heart. Like someone actually drew my like a comic version of my face with a little heart, and that's my custom emoji. And I'm like, that's very cute.
That is actually very cute.
Yes.
And I mean, probably as a community manager, being authentic or in general being an authentic person is the best you can do to stand out and to communicate. Yeah, to just build a community and communicate with people. Yeah.
People will sniff out bullshit from very far away, usually. If you're trying to be someone that you're not, like if I try to be a very standoffish, very like closed person, I wouldn't be, I wouldn't be enjoying the job that much, and B, I wouldn't do it well. I'm not saying that these are qualities you have to have, because everyone communicates differently, but if I wasn't talking to my community in the way I talk to them, they would feel that it's a corpo voice, because I would make a fake character out of myself, right? And we are two people in the German team, so I'm sharing the social media channels with my colleague. And of course, people will know who of us, if they've been following us for a while and they maybe have been to our events, they know who's responding. They know, because we have different voices, and I think that's fine because companies are made of people,
Yeah.
right? And you can show that you're people. Like we had a contest once on our forums, and the announcement of the results took a bit longer. And I could have said, the results will be posted 2 days later, sorry for the inconvenience. And instead I said, hey guys, sorry, I know we promised it for this date, but someone in the jury got sick. I hope for your understanding. Have a nice weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, people respond to this way in a way nicer way, right?
Yeah.
At least they do in my case, which I'm very thankful for.
No, I guess being transparent there, people understand way better why things are happening.
Yeah.
So this is actually pretty smart doing it that
Yeah,
way.
yes. However,
Okay.
you also have to set boundaries on the transparency, right? Like one thing that also the bigger the brands are that you represent, the more people will be maybe fishing for information, or not even in a negative way, but people will be interested in the people behind the game or behind the accounts. And if you're very, very transparent on Instagram, for example, it can happen that people know things about you that you didn't realize that your community would know about you, right? Or if you, I mean, in my case, and now it's not a secret anymore, but I was naive and I thought, hey, no one will ever find the videos that got posted about me because I did poetry slam twice, no, more than twice, but I was at an anime convention and I participated and the videos were put up. And I thought no one will ever know until people in the community were like, hey, I saw your poetry slams, and then it's too late. And then you just have to roll with the punches, right? But remember that maybe use different accounts on Discord so you have a work-life balance. Think about what you're sharing on social media because it could reflect on your company, right? Like I have very strong opinions about certain video games. I will not post these opinions on the internet. Like I share when I love things and when I'm passionate about things. And when I am not, I will talk about that with my friends or with my colleagues. I will not share them on Twitter. I mean, some people do and that's fine, but I like to not put my negativity about other games on the planet, right? Because that could backfire on you.
So that's something you learned through the job and the community. So you built up boundaries as well, or you figured out, oh, that is a boundary I have to think about.
I think the moment that your personal Twitter DMs get posted on Reddit, you realize that nothing is really private. So that's something that community managers or aspiring community managers have to be aware of, right? There's no off the record. It doesn't exist. If you tell someone something, then it has the potential to be out there, right? Sometimes people say, hey, but you can trust me. And like, yeah, still I won't tell you. Like, no.
Yeah.
But in general, just be mindful. Also as a private person, even if you're not in community management, maybe don't live tweet or live post when you're leaving the house for 2 weeks to go on vacation and then people know that no one is in your home and they can rob it.
Yeah.
Like just generally think about what you post on social media.
Yeah, definitely. I couldn't agree more. Sometimes we actually don't think about it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just going to share with my friends or the people that follow me. But, well, these could be also dangerous people. So, yeah.
We want poetry. No, my poetry is in German. It wouldn't, I'm sorry, it wouldn't work. It wouldn't work in English.
Maybe
poetry is also a very nice statement.
Maybe you can translate it. I actually like writing myself. Are you still in poetry? Like, or do you still like poetry?
I have a degree, like a bachelor's degree in German linguistics. So I do like writing, but I'm not good at it. So I like writing, but I think your poetry is way better than mine.
Oh, you think? Thank you. Maybe I should. I will share some with you later.
Yes.
So yeah, thanks a lot for these insightful answers.
You're very welcome.
Okay, thank you. We still have some questions, also work related, obviously. So how involved in marketing and PR are community managers?
That is a very, very big question with no answer, like no holistic answer, because it depends on the scope of the games, right? It depends on the company, it depends on a lot of things. Like, for example, a game in the scope of Cyberpunk or The Witcher, I am not doing marketing and PR and community management because it's impossible, right? So we have dedicated teams that take on dedicated challenges. And then, of course, we work closely together. That's one of the reasons why communication is very important. So I work with the marketing team, I work with our brand team, I work with the PR team, etc., etc. So in our case, it's a bit split. If we do things in Germany or German-speaking regions, then it's a bit more blurry because we don't have German marketing managers, right? We have a head of comms, that's my colleague, and we have me. So when there's marketing initiatives on the global level, then we will do some of it in our region, but that's usually the extent. However, if you work in a smaller company, especially like indie companies, they usually have one person that's a jack of all trades and that will do everything, right? If you have a company with 4 people and then they hire one person for community management, it's very likely that this person will also be the copywriter, do the marketing, send out the press releases. And that's fine. It comes with its own challenges, but it really depends on where you go. Yes. As also, maybe, it's the caveat for community management. It's not really standardized. Like there's some companies where, in my case, we have also the social media channels, right? There are companies where community managers don't even touch social media, and social media management and community management are completely split. And then there are some where the community managers are also streaming, and then there are some where they're also doing the influencer management. So technically, it's still very diffuse what you do in which company.
So yeah, you're basically saying there's no blueprint you can just put on every game and every company. It's very individual, and you have to find your way with your community and everything.
It's usually a good idea if you have a job interview for the position to ask, hey, what's the scope of the role, right? Like, what would you like me to do? What would be my responsibilities? That's something everyone should ask anyway. But if they don't tell you in the job listing or in their introduction, that's something to ask for, right? Because I know, for example, that there's a lot of very public community managers that have large followings and that go on streams, which is perfectly fine. But sometimes I feel that people are afraid that they have to be in public as well, right? They think that, oh God, I'm an introvert. I'm, by the way, also an introvert. But they think, okay, I'm an introvert, I'm shy, I don't want to be on camera, so it's not for me. And that's completely ridiculous. There are a lot of very, very good community managers that you would never recognize from their Twitter profile, or from streams. You wouldn't even know their names, and they're doing a fantastic job. So it's different. It's complicated.
Different and complicated. Yes. Okay, noted.
Like a Facebook profile.
Yeah, okay, I agree. Yes. So, what else can I ask you? Has your master's degree been beneficial for you when solving community conflicts? Or would you even say that studying is necessary to become a community manager?
I've often joked that having a master's degree in diplomacy is the only way I can handle it, which is I think in my case it helped me a lot because I also love learning, I love studying, I love the whole academic thing, and yes, I am studying, and I believe everyone should study, and I don't mean go to university, but I think like generally learning, reading books, watching things for self-improvement. I believe it helped me because it taught me a lot about like self-organization, deadlines, because those are really, really important things in the job, right? Like keeping your own schedule, getting organized, getting projects done. Those things are important. Plus, I communicate a lot and I have to speak and write in English as well, in German and in English. So having an academic training that teaches you proper terms and how to write in English and how to write in German, or French or Spanish or Italian or wherever you are, is really, really beneficial. However, I don't think that anyone has to go to university to become a community manager. There are some job listings that will ask for like a bachelor's degree in communications or comparable. This is a very flexible term. Like the comparable can be a lot of things. Like for example, if you had a, I don't know what it's in English, I think it's an apprenticeship, Ausbildung in our case. If you have an apprenticeship in something else, maybe it's comparable. Maybe that's actually something that you can apply to your community management role. Or maybe you can skip it altogether because you are in school, you're passionate about games, and you volunteer to be at International Games Week or at other events, and you're just on site getting to know people or learning the ropes of the role. Or you, like in my case, I played Guild Wars and Guild Wars 2. I know a lot of people play World of Warcraft. There's a lot of guilds. If you manage to get a guild out for raids, it sounds stupid, but every sort of community management can be applicable, right? You just have to be creative and think about, okay, what did I actually do? I have a guild of, excuse me, I don't know the World of Warcraft lingo, so I will speak in Guild Wars. If you manage to organize 12 people in Guild Wars 1 to do a certain thing, they come from all walks of life, and some of them are like 60 and some of them are 15, and you manage to get all the schedules managed to do something together, and you can get them to achieve a goal. That's more valuable than me learning about political theory, right? So it's always interpretation, and it should never be something that keeps you from applying, right? That's why I said at the beginning, always try twice. You can try to apply for a role, and then if they don't take you, you didn't lose anything, just try again.
Yeah, that's actually some really good advice, because when I think about applying for a job, I'm usually that kind of imposter person that if there are like 5 points wanted and I don't never touched any of these 5 points, I probably wouldn't apply, but that's something you should not do.
No. Also because there will always be people that apply having fulfilled none of it. So you will always, if you know to do 3 of the things, if there's 10 things and you check off 6, apply. You're already better than most of the applicants, right? And it's always, sometimes maybe a company is looking for something that they don't even know they're looking for. Maybe you're bringing something to the table. Like you, for example, are a host, a great host. Maybe they didn't know they would need a host, but then they speak to you and they realize, oh, we could use her for that. And they didn't even know, right? So always, or if you're, I don't know, if you're super good on Photoshop and you can do content creation, you will be super valuable to a company, even if they don't ask for it. So I would never let that deter me. And about imposter syndrome, because I also have it. I used to have it stronger. It's getting a bit weaker, but it's also getting weaker because I'm fighting against it. So for example, I don't know if people know Trello, but it's like a project management tool, like a Kanban board. And I used to always I finished a project, I archived it. It was out of sight, out of mind, I forgot. And I always had issues with imposter syndrome and thinking I'm not doing enough, I'm not working enough, everyone else is cool and better, and you know the drill. And then I started having a column that said, shit I've done in 2020, and I just moved the cards there. And all of a sudden there was a list of things I've done. And that helps, right? To actually have a visible reminder of the things that you've done. You can also have a corkboard, or I have 2 things. I have a folder of positivity with nice things that people have sent us or pictures on my desktop where I move nice things and I look at them. And I have an email inbox folder that is positive shit and appreciation. And if there's any nice word in an email, I will move it there. And when I have a bad day, I just click on it and I read nice words, and then it gets better.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
It helps.
That's actually a very great tip.
Thank you.
To fight against this constant bad thing in your head that says you're not good enough, or you're not working hard enough.
Yeah, because I think we all in different ways suffer from that, right? So we just need to trick our brains. If you tell your brain often enough that I'm actually working, then at one point it will just believe you.
Yeah.
Even if you might not be. Just talk nicely to yourself and it will come over time.
Yeah, it will affect you positively.
Yeah. May I recommend therapy again? It's very helpful.
So yeah, so you would say that, yeah, going to therapy, I mean, because you mentioned it a couple of times now, you've probably been yourself.
It would not be surprising. No?
Yeah, no. Yeah. So would you say that these are things you learned with and from therapy?
Yeah, because I had like, this horrible thing happened and everybody hates me. And then the question was like, why? And then I struggled explaining why. And I was like, if I can't even explain to myself why I believe it, then why is my brain believing it, right? So those were techniques that I actually learned from them. It was very, very good. I had a very good therapist.
Yeah.
Shout out to my therapist.
Amazing. Yeah, I guess maybe this encourages people to actually seek help if you need help.
But that's also what I meant when you don't have to have a problem to go, right? I think we should just normalize. You also go to the doctor for regular checkups, for normal checkups.
True.
If you're lucky enough to live in a country with good healthcare and with free healthcare. I'm sorry, I was thinking from the German lens, but usually, at least in Germany, you go to the doctor for preventive medicine, right? Yeah. So why not go to a mental health doctor for preventive medicine?
Yeah, that's the thing. I think most people actually say that these things don't actually have something to do with each other, but physical health and mental health, it's one system, you know, it's not two separate systems, but we tackle these topics.
If I feel bad in my body or if I don't get movement, my mind will also feel worse, right? Often if we are sick, our brain also goes to bad spaces, and if you then read messages, that's why I think it's so important. I'm bringing it back to community management. Yes. If you read a lot of negative things and opinions from people that haven't necessarily even played your games or encountered your community or whatever, people are just negative online sometimes. And if you read that a lot, and then you're also not taking care of your body and not taking care of your mind, it will be a very, very taxing job. So self-care is super important, and that's why I'm being a broken record about it.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. So I can understand it. So the creation of a positive experience for the player is very important to you, therefore. How would you say can you achieve this goal or help with as a community manager?
Yeah, first of all, I mean, I've already touched on different things and different responses, right? But for example, one of the things is if you have creative people in your community, don't take them for granted, right? Like you could think of formats, like we have community spotlights, many companies do, which is something super cool, right? So share them, create maybe videos about them or post them on social media, show people that you actually see the kind of things that you're doing. Because positivity encourages positivity. Because I'm boring, I sometimes compare it to a garden, right? If you water the wheat will grow. If you water the flowers will grow, right? So give more attention to the positive people, and then they will overtake, right? And sometimes they even self-moderate. I had it a lot of times that someone was posting something very nasty, and then people in the community actually got this person to not be nasty anymore. So that's one thing. And then also have some accountability. I often see that people don't like admitting mistakes. And of course, sometimes you feel defensive, right, about yourself or about the work of your colleagues or about your company in general. Not in our case. I think it's a very human thing that you feel very defensive. But sometimes I fuck up. Like sometimes I make mistakes. And I think having the guts to admit to your community that, hey, I haven't been doing this, I will now rectify this, is already something that encourages admitting mistakes. Because if you do, then you show to other people that it's not shit, we have a German saying, Zacken aus der Krone brechen, to take something out of your crown. I'm sorry for all the English-speaking people. It's not a shame to admit mistakes, and I think by living as an example, you encourage that in your community as well. Plus, be help, not a barrier, right? You want to help them reach their goal. So if they want to have a bug fixed, make it as easy as possible for them to know where to find tech support help. If they want to find patch notes, make it as easy as possible for them to know where to go, right? Maybe I have a form where people can submit problems, like not bugs, because that's tech support, right? But like feedback. Like make it easy for people so they're not getting frustrated in the process of being in the community. Yes. That being said, I'm always looking for recommendations on how to make it better, because you can always do so much that sometimes you're not seeing the tree for the forest.
Yeah,
absolutely. Or the forest for the tree.
Yeah.
People will know what I mean.
People definitely will understand what you meant.
Yes.
Thank you so much for all the questions you answered so far. I wanted to see if some people already have questions for you.
Yes.
So maybe I'll jump into them.
Yes.
And yeah, let's see what's going on. Okay.
In the meantime, I will just continue speaking.
Feel free to share, especially where people can actually submit questions directly to you if they
maybe yes,
or about the game, games.
So maybe that's an important thing to say, right? So this Q&A, I think we want to focus mostly on like career and getting started and community management. We don't necessarily want to talk about our games and our company because that's not the right place and time for it. However, if you have questions, you deserve to have them answered. So if you can speak German or Google Translate German, you can come to either the German-speaking Facebook account for all our games or the Instagram account for all our games, or you can come to the forums. And in these places, I will personally respond to you sooner or later. Please apologize. Please take my apologies if it takes a bit longer, but I will get back to you there about your questions. Otherwise, I have a lot of lovely colleagues spanning a lot of languages that will also respond to your messages if you send it. So Cyberpunk, Gwent, and The Witcher, we're almost everywhere. We're on Tumblr. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We have forums. You can reach us everywhere, and we get back to you. Yes.
Thank you so much. So I think it's from Sancho. Sorry if I don't pronounce it correctly. He asked a question, or she. If you could time travel, what advice would you give your former self about your job?
About my job, if I could time travel. I don't want to give the pretentious answer of nothing, because that's usually what people say, right? I wouldn't change anything because then I wouldn't be in the position I'm in. I think I stood in my way a lot in the beginning because I doubted myself. I thought no one would take me. I almost didn't apply for my role at CDP, right? Like I almost didn't apply, and a friend basically had to force me to apply because I thought they would never take me. Right, so especially in the early days of my career, I thought it was just like a coincidence and a luck that I came into it. And I think I didn't take some chances I could have taken. Like I didn't give some speeches I could have done. I didn't do some business trips I could have done. I didn't advocate for myself the way I could have, because I just stood in my own way. So I think I would change that. And also I would have learned to be better in Photoshop, which would really be helpful. And I used to dabble with it when I was younger, so I can do like the basics of cutting and pasting and doing like very basic social media postings. But that's something like on a hardcore technical skill, I would really like to be able to do that. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, cool. Thanks for your question.
Thank
and
you.
thanks for your answer.
Yes.
So we have another question. Do you have a sort of mentor you followed by Liebe Micha?
Who might that person be? Actually, a lot. I find that people are always... No, I will say it the other way around. I've never encountered a person that didn't want to help me when I asked for it or when I approached them. So there's a lot of people in the industry that I will not shout out because it's always, you don't know if they want it or not, but there are some professors in this industry and some people also in this building today, and also, I mean, Ruth I will shout out because she deserves all the shout outs, right? But some people that are very just like powerful, inspirational forces in general. And you can learn a lot from people by just observing how they behave. So yeah, there's a lot of mentors I had and I followed, and I still have, because there's still a long, long way to go. But yeah, this industry is great for mentorship, and that's maybe another advice. Always ask it. Like, come to my Twitter DMs. I don't want to advertise my Twitter, but if you don't know where to start, just reach out to people, including me, including everyone, right? People usually are very kind and want to help, and if they don't want to help you, they usually know someone that maybe could help you, or like just a link, right? So yeah.
Yeah, just recently, yeah, we're starting with a new project. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to talk on here because
okay, I will be the NDA police. Don't.
So I won't. But yeah, I just reached out on LinkedIn to a couple of people I briefly talked to before, and I said, well, do you know anyone that's working in that area and direction? I'm really lost here. I just want to briefly tell you what the project is about, and like within like 30 minutes I got so many answers, and people wanted to connect me with new people, and so my network grew, and yeah, that was very fascinating. So I can only support your answer. Reach out to people. Be kind and friendly, and they will answer and help you, because we all want this industry to grow, and
and maybe to stay also in the mindset of learning and to be open for learning, right? Like, don't discount the things you can learn from almost everyone. Like, too often when, I don't know, and I was also guilty of that at some points, right? You go to a conference or like just a panel, and there's this moment of, does anyone have questions? And no one asks a question, but everyone has questions. You should take the leap. I know it's scary, but you can learn from people. You can learn from their mistakes, and maybe they will just keep you in their mind, right? Like, I still remember a lot of people that came to me and had questions just because they were the one person asking me, right? So I have a lot of colleagues also in my company today, where I'm just like, stealthily sitting at the sidelines and watching what they're doing and being amazed and like, oh, this is so cool that I get to see this, because it's something super exciting, right? So don't discount learning.
So that's why Bishop_Xman, where can I get my foot in the door?
Foot in the door. I will acknowledge that I am super, super sorry for everyone that's trying to do it right now, because my go-to answer is events, and I acknowledge that it's super tricky. I've given some like Hangout/Zoom speeches in universities over the last 2 years, and it's very tricky for students to do it now, because my classic tip would be, take the student ticket to your whatever it is in your country, right? Like here, for example, in Berlin, we have the International Games Week Berlin, but we also have events in Munich and Hamburg. I know in the US there's a lot of events, but I also know, because I had the luck of being in Brazil once for a game event, I know there's also events basically everywhere. There will be a game dev meetup or anything. Go there. Go to events. Be the kind person. Be the person these people want to work with. Right? Like, just be helpful, go there, ask maybe, hey, can I help you in something? Are you missing something? I want to come to your meetup. Can I bring some snacks? You will be the favorite person of everyone. And at events also, they're always looking for volunteers, for people that can take care, not of security per se, but like of management of guest flow or of handing out the badges. You cannot imagine how many people you will get to meet if you're the speaker management volunteer at something like Games Week, because everyone will go past you, right? And sometimes there's even opportunities where they will do speeches just for the volunteers or like meetups. So I would always recommend this. And fingers crossed, we're getting to a point where soon events will be happening again. So I would always recommend going there. However, I know that not everyone can afford to go to events, or maybe you have like physical disabilities, or you have, I don't know, kids and you can't travel. In that case, there's a lot of great Discord communities as well. I'm not sure, like that, I for example know that there's one for community managers. There's a lot for game devs in general. You can Google Discord game dev plus your country and you will always find something. Almost always find something. I would recommend going there and just making first connections with people, and then maybe just reach out to people that you admire that do the job you want to do. That doesn't only apply to community management. If you want to be in production, if you want to be in level design, and you see people that are cool, you know, and you just want to do what they're doing, 99% of the cases, if they don't have 5 million followers, they will read their DMs. You know, you can just engage with them or just ask them questions in public, or just reach out nicely on, I don't know, like LinkedIn and say, hey, I would like to connect. I'm aspiring to be a game designer. I have some questions. You know, that's usually also helping. I hope that helped.
Yeah, thanks so much. Actually, Ruth is here, Ruth Levin is here with us, and she says, thank you, Caro, your recommendations are so inspiring. Let's all spread positivity as much as we can, especially in those sad days.
Thank you, Ruth.
So it's nice that she's here, and as I mentioned earlier, she's co-founder of this Womenize initiative, and she's also a consultant in career development. So if you have any questions, I'm sure she would gladly help you. So reach out. Yeah.
If you actually want to be a community manager, there's one person I think everyone in community management knows, and she's called Victoria Tran. She's currently the, I think, community director at Innersloth for Among Us, and she's brilliant and she's extremely helpful. And if you go on her Twitter profile, she actually has a website where she shares how to be a community manager, community management 101. She has like budgeting for your indie game dev community job, and go and check it out if you want to. And maybe this is also a lesson. No one is your enemy in the industry, right? Like, you should support your peers, you should support each other, and then everyone sort of rises. I know it sounds kitschy, but you shouldn't be bothered sharing other people's recommendations. And Victoria is perfect. So if you want to be in community management, check her out.
Yeah, yes. Nice. Thanks for the recommendation. And I have a question, or you have a question. By Simmer6565, do you sometimes force yourself to do harder, or do you or do more than you currently do? Just all the time.
Never. Yeah, I have to admit that I'm getting better at it. I for a long time had a hard problem with, because I had imposter syndrome, I always wanted to do more to prove myself. And I sort of learned that it's not necessary, but still I will push myself to the extent that people just say, you know, chill a bit, like just take it down a peg. And I do. I think it's important to listen to yourself, right? I don't think that you always just have to do I like working 9 to 5. There's nothing wrong with working 9 to 5, and work-life balance is important. That being said, if I have something I'm super passionate about, Sometimes I will put in some extra hours because I want it to be perfect. I will usually take those hours off afterwards in another, like on another day, but it's something that I tend to do, yes.
Yeah, but there also comes in self-development and self-love and stuff like that. So you also get your breaks, like
you also have to learn to say no, right? I think that's the thing I struggle. Yeah, I see you doing the eyebrows. That's the thing I struggled with a lot, especially earlier. I still struggle with it. I would be lying if I said I'm not struggling with it. I like to say yes to everything, also because I come from a time where I said no to chances because I thought I wasn't up for it. So now I'm being counterproductive and I say yes to all the challenges, which I'm working on. But it's definitely something where you can, if something is not so I'm trying to tell myself, is it something you really want to do? If no, is it something your boss really needs you to do? If no, is it something that actually helps the company a lot and that you need to do for the company? If no, why are you doing it, right? There are some tasks that are just things that you think you do, but they serve no one. So they're not a priority, so, you know, just don't do them.
Yeah, I agree. Like Sancho said, I had to learn this the hard way as well. I worked so hard that I got to the point of where it got to the point of actual health problems. Take care of yourself first, especially when it comes to stress.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to hear that. I think a lot of us can empathize. Yes, you have to listen to your body, and if your body says it's over, like you have to stop, then you should stop.
Yeah.
Usually you should stop before your body says that you should.
But actually it's really important to listen to what your body has to say. So if your body says no, then think about why your body says no. Yeah. So trust your intuition. Or institution. Sorry.
Don't trust the institution.
No, trust your gut feeling. Yes. Trust your gut feeling. Bishop says a balance to the right amount of yes and no.
Yes,
absolutely.
That's perfect. That's perfectly said.
Absolutely agree.
Maybe he should be here, or they should be here. I'm sorry. Maybe they should be here instead for the short answer.
Yeah, put you on stage. And Sancho said also then don't let coworkers put the work they are supposed to be doing on you.
Yes, that's what I meant with the 3 things, right? If it's not your priority or not your boss's priority, usually you shouldn't be doing it.
Yeah.
Because it's easy, right? We all know that sometimes you don't want, if I don't want to do something, of course I have the impetus of saying, hey, do you maybe want to do, but that's not fair and no one should do it.
Yeah, I agree. You shouldn't do that.
No.
But again, I'd like to encourage you to ask more questions because we're probably live for, I don't know, 15 more minutes or something. That's what we calculated. So just take this chance and ask questions.
Yes.
Yeah, it's really nice that you already sent us some questions. So keep doing that. Caro is definitely up for answering them.
Yes. Otherwise, I will start talking about other things with you. I don't know.
Sure. I mean,
what are you playing right now?
What I'm playing right now? Actually, I'm not playing that much right now, but I always come back to the game we've talked about many times before. Like, yes, you know what I'm talking about. It's Heroes of Might and Magic 3. The 3 is important.
Yeah, the 3 is very important. We have a mutual friend, getting back to the topic of networking.
Yes.
And who always tries to make fun of her for loving Heroes of Might and Magic 3. And when he tried with me, I said, are you stupid? It's the best one.
Yes.
And that's how we bonded.
Yeah, that's actually how we bonded. He tried to make fun of me. It was actually during Games Week Berlin 2018, I think.
Yes, roughly.
Roughly should be that. And he kind of, that's his way he introduced me to people. Like, she likes Heroes of Might and Magic 3.
And I said, fuck yes.
Yeah. And like most people reacted that way, and he was like, that's so weird. And then I was like, oh, you just don't know good games.
Yeah.
But
I see. What's your favorite games? Oh, that's a long answer. I love almost all things BioWare. I grew up with Neverwinter Nights and Baldur's Gate. I love the Dragon Ages. I love the Mass Effects. I'm very excited about that. So I'm really big into like classic RPG and tactical RPG. So Divinity is very high on my list. The next Baldur's Gate from Larian I will be very excited about. I love strategy games. So XCOM, Civilization, Heroes of Might and Magic, this kind of thing. And also I love short games. Like I love indie games. I love What Remains of Edith Finch. I love Return of the Obra Dinn. I love Hellblade, like this kind of vibe. Ori and the Blind Forest, like Hollow Knight. Like that's my vibe. But usually I play almost everything. I try to also stay kind of in the know about what's happening on the market. So usually I will try out new games just to see what they're about. I have very few things I don't play.
so then I have to ask, did you already played Elden Ring?
I started playing it, and in the current situation, it was a bit too frustrating because at the moment, I'm frustrated with the world. I won't go into details, but people can probably imagine why. So it was just like, I was getting angry. I'm playing it together with someone, so we were both getting angry. It was like, it's a great game for times when we are happier. Let's bank it for now.
So you needed to take a step back.
I took a step back, and I'm going to my current comfort game, which is a German game, which is called Dorfromantik. If anyone wants to play a wholesome, like city building, chill game, please play Dorfromantik. It's very affordable. It's on Steam. I don't know if it's on other platforms. Please play it.
Okay, actually some questions came in. Yes. So yeah, they kind of, Sancho and Torment 07 kind of asked the same question, so yes. I'll just read one of them. Did you have a project that you're allowed to talk about that was your most favorite or helped you or to form you?
Probably, yeah, I have several favorite projects, and I can also speak about the fact that they're my projects. So for Cyberpunk 2077 in 2019, we did something in the DACH, so GSA region, which was a sort of event tour, because in the game there's a rock band, samurai band, and we thought, like together with my colleague and our distributor Bandai Namco, we thought it would be cool if we didn't force everyone to come to Gamescom, but if instead we took up this idea of a rock band and we come to people. So also because not everyone can afford to go to Gamescom, right? So we went to 7 different cities. If I list them and I forget one, it's embarrassing. So we went to 7 cities, also Austria and Switzerland, and we actually booked opera houses and cinemas, and we did like the demo on stage. We had a dev on stage for Q&A. We did like custom shirts and like as if it was a rock band concert, like the tickets and things. And basically I was involved in the whole process from conceptualizing the idea to getting everything booked, coordinating with the people there, getting the t-shirts done, printing the tickets, getting the design for the tickets, setting up the PC and the screens on stage, to welcoming people and hosting on the stage. It was an extremely demanding time because we did the 7 events. From the first one was Gamescom end of August. The last one was EGX Berlin in early November, I think first week of November. So in that time span we did 7 big events, but it was super, super rewarding, and it taught me a lot about also time management, prioritization, and also why I'm doing this, right? Because I met so many people. I think I counted, we did 15,000 people over the events, and that's something that was very, very formative. And then quite recently we posted a thank you video for our community, and I was part of the people that worked on getting it together, getting the assets, getting all the community creations, recording the video. video snippets from our devs, right, for the video. And that made me very happy. It was good because people liked it and people were kind and that felt good. So I'm happy. Yes.
Yeah, happy sounds good.
Yeah, happy is good. Yeah.
We have a German question, and
Yes.
I really like the question, so I would like to jump
Yes.
into it. I could translate it, but maybe we can just answer it in German. I guess
You
everyone's fine with that.
we can do bilingual. We can do both.
I guess
so
we can
everyone,
do-
because I read some people like from Canada and Australia.
Yeah,
I don't want to
okay.
exclude them.
Of
but-
course, it's all about including everyone. So,
Yes. Yes.
wie steht ihr zum Thema Frauenquote versus Kompetenz? Nach welchen Faktoren werden weibliche Vorbilder ausgesucht, um keine Abstriche machen zu müssen, einfach damit eine Zahl oder Quote erreicht werden würde?
It's a question about a quota for
Yeah.
hiring in positions with women. So that's a very loaded question.
But I guess it's a good environment to ask this kind of question.
Yeah, it's a loaded question, and not for you asking it, but because it's often used as, for example, I mentioned earlier that when I got the promotion, that there was a nasty comment. That nasty comment was, so she only got it because she's a woman, right? So it was a quota thing. And what I don't like about this is the assumption some people have that women are only being hired because of their gender. And this is not something I believe is true. Personally, I don't believe it, because then we would also have a very different environment across companies, across industries, with way more women. I'm not saying hiring practices are perfect, far from it. I'm not saying it never happens, because I don't know other companies. I can just say that in our company, I've never heard or witnessed that. Our team, for example, the community team, is 50-50 with a slight, might even have a slight bias towards more women than men, but I didn't count them, and now in my head I don't want to count it. So I don't think that it exists in our industry. I would have to be proven wrong. That being said, I would like for quotas to not be required. Let's say it like this. This might be the same as Womenize, right? Like, if you have to have a quota, that means that there's a systemic issue that makes it necessary. And I would like to work towards a world where this is not necessary. And also, I think tackling the problem, that's maybe now my political scientist coming in, I think tackling the problem at the career entry stage is too late. Like, for example, our company is currently doing, now I will actually talk about the company. Our company is currently doing a program in Poland where we have a sort of scholarship networking program for young girls. So I think 15 to 18. I would give you the name, but I can't pronounce the Polish. That's why I'm not saying the name of the program. And it's basically to show young girls that a job in tech, a job in gaming is a possibility, right? I think we should start even earlier than 15, because in some countries by 15 you've already chosen a sort of major in school, right? So I think the equality question starts way earlier than at the moment where you go into games. That's my whole thing. I will not talk about the quota per se, because I know that people fight about it, and I'm not here to fight about it.
Yeah, actually, it's a Womenize job also to fight about it.
Yeah.
That's why this initiative exists. We want to encourage people to join the gaming and tech industry, and that's why we're here.
Yeah, I mean, also because I think all genders don't want to be hired or not hired because of quotas, right? Like, I wouldn't want to work for a company where I knew I was only there because I'm a woman.
Yeah,
right.
definitely.
Like, would feel shit to know. And also because people misunderstand quotas, right? Because it's a conversation about being hired with the same qualification. Then it's very subjective what those qualifications are and when they're the same. But in general, we have to change some things about hiring practices, and that's my last word about it.
All right. Hier bin ich Mensch asks, since you mentioned that you hesitated to apply at CD Projekt Red, is it the biggest company? Is it the biggest company you ever worked for? How about working in an international company with employees from many different countries? Was that something you've been scared of, or was this something which made the job more attractive in the beginning?
Mm-hmm. It's definitely the biggest company I've ever worked for, because I've only ever worked for 2 companies and a gas station. So I worked at a gas station during my school years to earn some money, and then I worked at the foundation, which was way, way smaller, and now it's clearly the biggest company and also one of the biggest gaming companies in Europe, right? So it is, and for me, having the cultural diversity in the team is one of the biggest benefits of the company, and it's something I would truly recommend to everyone to do, because there's so many ideas that you get from general diversity, like gender diversity, but also ethnical diversity, also age diversity, right? Which is also something people don't often talk about. Having older people, younger people, people in our team from Germany, from France, from Italy, from Japan, from Korea, from Brazil, and so on and so forth, right? And that gives you so many insights into things, because some projects, for example, that you would do in Germany, they wouldn't work in other countries because the market is just different, right? We have a very strong, we're skewing towards PC and mobile, whereas other countries are very strong on PlayStation, for example, and other countries are stronger on Xbox. So and then of course there's also Nintendo Switch, which I don't want to forget, but generally countries and cultures are different, and I think you can only win by having as many of them present as possible. Plus, purely personally, I love traveling and I love learning, so I'm always the person, tell me more about the healthcare system in your country. Tell me more about the city where you're from. You know, like just getting the chance to ask people from a country about the country. It's usually, there's nothing similar, right? Because reading about something and hearing it firsthand is so different. So yeah, it's one of the biggest perks actually for me.
Yeah. Yeah, I can relate to that. It's also, I'd say, more emotional when somebody from the actual country tells you about their country and their cultures and stuff, and maybe that's how you also remember information better.
Also because sometimes, I mean, clearly in Germany, for example, we have stereotypes about certain countries, which I think every country has stereotypes about other countries, right? I think that's just sadly how humans work. And I love to be proven wrong. Like, I love to meet people from somewhere where they just tell me, no, it's different. It actually works like this, or no, this information is outdated by 10 years. We changed this and this, right? So, yeah, I love it.
Yeah. By the way, CD Projekt Red posted the name of the program.
Thank you.
I also cannot translate it.
Thank you, dear colleagues, for posting it.
Oh yeah, it says it translates into girls in the game.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I didn't want to butcher it. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm sorry if I said something wrong on the stream.
I'm sure you didn't. I'm pretty sure you didn't.
All good.
Ruth again said, very important point, I couldn't agree more. Diversity is inspiring and you can learn so much from others.
Yeah. That's
a
almost
point.
like an ending proverb. No, but I truly mean it, because sometimes we tend to think diversity in very limited boxes, right? And diversity is so much. For example, also like having people with maybe disabilities in the team would be super valuable, right? Because just learning about different ways to include people, you're better at it when you have people that are actually affected by it, right? Or in our case, having men and having women, having older and younger people, having, as I said, broken record, having people from different countries, also different educational backgrounds, right? Because if everyone in our team studied what I studied, it would be very boring. We have people that have an esports background, we have people that have a digital communications background, we have people that were cosplayers, right? So it's very different, and that's super good.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I couldn't agree more. Okay, what else? Yeah, Bishop underscore Xman says exactly. People with disabilities are important too. Definitely, I couldn't agree more. For example, every time I open a game or play a game, and like when you start it, and in the settings you can choose a mode for colorblind people, for example. I love this idea, and that people, yeah, they're also thought of. I mean, it's great.
It's one of the developments in the games industry that makes me most happy, that in the recent years we're seeing more and more emphasis put on not only the colorblind modes, but different ways of including more people. There's also, like, I'm not going to name the company, but it's not hard to guess, there's a company that has a special controller, right, that you can use to reprogram your key bindings, which is super, super important. And also the shift to working from home, like a lot of us just think about it in the terms of not wanting to commute, but there's so much more into it, because it kind of equalizes the playing field a bit more for people that maybe can't leave their house, and they couldn't have the job, but now they can, and that's so good that I hope that we get more flexibility in working culture in general, not only in games, right, in general, because also I heard some people say that they were always excluded from events. They could never go, and all of a sudden everything shifted to digital, and the first time ever they could participate. And that's something so important that I think we shouldn't lose when things revert back to normal, if you can say so. Yeah.
Absolutely, very, very important to keep in mind, especially at some point we will kind of get back to normal. We have to come to an end at some point. It was so great to have you here, Carolin. And it's a pleasure, always talking to you. And thank you so much for so many insights in the industry of the type of work you're doing. And I hope we get to do this again here live on Twitch. And thank you so much for your questions and sticking with us and tuning in, and have a wonderful rest of your day. Happy Internationals Day again.
Internationals Day.
Happy International Women's Day. But also, it was fun. It was great. Thank you so much.
Thank you for inviting me. Thank you for everyone that has questions. If we didn't answer your questions, or if you were too shy to ask them, you can tweet at me if you want to. I don't know if it's anywhere, at Koshi_90.
I will here. Yeah? Koshi_90.
There you go. Please don't harass me. Please be nice. Yes. Thank you.
Yeah. Bye-bye.